Right now, the indictment of former President Trump and the one judge who could change everything in the case stemming from one of the most sprawling and complex investigations in U.S. history. A brand new grassroots push to reveal whether life outside our world truly exists. The UFO lobbyist leading the effort outside the halls of Congress joins us live with his plan to get the answers we've all been waiting for. Monster trucks become the latest weapon for some of the world's most dangerous criminals. The one goal in mind for the cartels who end up behind the wheel. Good afternoon, I'm Nick Smith. We're beginning this afternoon with breaking news. Breaking right now, this is from Capitol Police. If you are inside the Senate buildings, everyone inside should be sheltering in place as there's a report for a possible active shooter. It should be noted that we do not have any confirmed reports of gunshots. We will continue to monitor this situation and bring you updates as they become available. Again, if you're in the Capitol building, you should shelter in place. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nick Smith, in today for Nicole Burley. We started with the historic third indictment of former President Donald Trump over the days following the 2020 election. A federal grand jury handing down a 4-count indictment with charges including conspiracy to defraud the U.S. and conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. In a moment, I'm going to be speaking with former federal prosecutor Duncan Levin on what we could hear from Trump's legal team. But first, we want to take a closer look at the judge overseeing this case and what we know about her judicial record. Correspondent Joe Khalil is live in Washington. Joe, what do we know about this judge and what other cases has she seen other than the January 6th cases?
Oh, this is Judge Tanya Chutkan here at the D.C. District Court. She was assigned this case. It could go to any one of 12. It landed in her courtroom. She's very familiar, Nick, with the January 6th case. In fact, a lot of the harshest sentences for the people who stormed the building and were convicted for that came from her. And she also made a crucial decision ruling against former President Trump in a case that ended up giving the January 6th committee in Congress access to all kinds of White House records from the Trump administration, something that Donald Trump had said he was exerting executive privilege over and trying to block them from getting those documents. She ruled against them. It was a very important ruling and one that has actually in itself made headlines, not just for the substance, but for what she said, the language in her ruling. And I want to read some of it to you. You may have heard it. She said here, she wrote, "Presidents are not kings, and the plaintiff, Donald Trump, is not president." She went on to say that executive privilege exists for the benefit of the republic, not for any individual, and that accordingly, it can be overcome by an appropriate showing of public need. Now, again, those very important words there that in themselves may stand the test of history and have been applied to other cases as well. Let's take a look at her bio here for a second. Judge Chutkan, born and raised in Jamaica. She came to D.C. for college to go to George Washington University, later went to law school at the University of Pennsylvania. She was appointed to the federal bench by President Obama back in 2014, and she also worked for 10 years in her professional career as a public defender. Now, Nick, something that's important to understand here, we mentioned there are 12 judges in this federal court behind us that could have gotten this case. She was the one that landed in front of some of the other ones in here have also taken on January 6th defendants, and many of them have written in very personal and critical terms about Donald Trump. In their rulings, one judge called him a charlatan. Another one was really critical of his behavior around January 6th. There have been others that have said personal things about him. I think it's important to note that Judge Tanya Chutkan has not gone so far as to comment personally about Donald Trump like some of her colleagues here have, and whether that lends any sort of credibility to her as being objective, we don't know. Again, she was assigned this case randomly, but certainly important to note, Nick.
Joe, do you know, I have to ask you this though quickly, do you know if she's prepared for a case this high profile?
Well, certainly the fact that she is a federal judge here at the district court in D.C., that is not something that anybody can achieve. So that in itself, lends credibility to her. So imagine that she's prepared to take this case on. She's taken on other January 6 cases. I mean, certainly, if you look at the breadth of what she's ruled over, this is going to be the most high-profile case with likely complications that wouldn't come in any other case. It is certainly historic coming before her, but I imagine that she's ready to take it.
News Nation correspondent Joe Khalil live for us this afternoon in the nation's capital. Joe, thank you. Now let's bring in Duncan Levin, criminal defense attorney and managing attorney at Levin and Associates, who's also a former federal and state prosecutor. Duncan, what is Mr. Trump's best defense as you understand it right now, having read through this indictment yourself?
Well, what we're seeing here is the fact that he has two different defenses to make. One is a political defense and one is a legal defense. Now, this political defense, attacking the prosecutors, saying that they're out to get me, they're out to overturn the election, all of those things really are not going to help him at the end of the day in a court of law. This case is brand new, so we're likely not to see what this defense is going to be. But I think ultimately he's going to say, look, the First Amendment allows me to talk about it. A lot of the things I was talking about are protected by law. I had broad privileges as president to do what I did. And that's why I think Jack Smith and his team have done a very thorough job of laying out the ways in which that isn't true. But I think he's likely to attack it in a very different way than we're seeing in public. It's going to be much more about the fact that his actions that day and leading up to it comported with law and didn't go beyond what he was allowed to do.
Duncan, break it down for me. The indictment lists 6 co-conspirators. 5 of them are named. The identity of one is still unknown. Why is this important and why is it unknown?
Well, look, this is the beginning of an investigation, even though a lot of what came out in this indictment is stuff that we've known about for a long time. And there's actually not a ton of new information in this indictment when it comes down to it. We've known about this for a long time, but this is the beginning of their investigation. It's the beginning of a criminal process now where both sides will be entitled to some discovery here. And at the end of the day, it signals, one, that the U.S. Attorney's Office and federal law enforcement are just beginning their investigation into this and continues. And so they'll be looking into these co-conspirators. We may see more charges coming in the coming days and weeks against some of these co-conspirators. If I were one of the unnamed co-conspirators in this indictment, I would be very nervous that I were coming next.
Duncan, I asked News Nation correspondent Joe Khalil, who was on just before you, whether or not this judge is ready for a case this high profile. He was quick to point out that a judge at this level is ready for almost anything. Do you agree with that? And what can she expect as far as the media attention and possibly rabid supporters making her situation less than comfortable?
I think it's something that most federal judges and all the federal judges in that building, I can assure you, are capable of handling this case. They've been dealing with a slew of these January 6 related cases for a while. They're very familiar with the case law in this area, particularly with the case law surrounding this charge of 1512, which is the charge to obstruct an official proceeding of Congress. Those trials have been taking up a lot of time in this courtroom, in this courthouse. This courthouse is no stranger to any kind of publicity. No one's really ready to become the judge on this case. I don't think most judges would want that spotlight on them. But at the end of the day, this judge can handle it. And the courthouse is a place that handles routinely matters bearing on this subject and dealing with high profile people.
Duncan, one more question for you there. We talked about the randomness on how the judge was selected. How does that process work and why does that matter?
New cases spin out, they wheel out to a judge. It is a random selection process. There are ways in which certain cases are reassigned. For example, if there's a related case, one judge has a case and a new case comes in and it's somewhat related, they can get it sent over to the first judge. But absent some kind of situation like that, cases get randomly assigned out to judges precisely for this moment where people say, oh, this judge has some sort of bias. I'm sure former President Trump will make an argument that he can't get a fair trial in D.C. and this judge who was appointed by a Democrat won't give him a fair shake. I'm sure those are political defenses that he will use, and he may even try to recuse the judge. But at the end of the day, it gets wheeled out randomly on purpose exactly for this type of situation.
Duncan Levin, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. I'm going to take all of us right now to breaking news. We have Vic Becerra on the phone. What's the situation happening right now? Because I know that you're there. Talk to us.
Nick, I'm outside the United States Capitol on what we call the Senate side, where there are reports that the United States Capitol Police have notified us that they had a concerning 911 call. They hasten to add that there are no reports of gunshots per se. Having said that, there is now a heavy police presence outside of the Senate office buildings. Again, these are buildings that house the senators and their staff. There are three principal ones: the Russell Building, the Dirksen Building, the Hart Building. On the north side of the Capitol, police have pushed us back, tourists as well as press that have rushed over to this scene. They say that they are searching the buildings right now and that anyone inside any of those buildings should shelter in place. So that is the situation now, a heavy police presence outside of the Senate office buildings at the United States Capitol, or just north of the United States Capitol, I should say, on the other side of Constitution Avenue. I should also add that the Senate is not in session this week, nor is the House. The Congress is out, as a matter of fact, throughout the month of August. They will not return till September. So we are exercising caution here as far as, getting carried away with what we're reporting, but certainly a concerning scene here and a heavy police presence.
Mike, you and I have both been in that building before. We know how expansive that campus is. Do you have any idea where that might be, or have they shared that information, or are they searching the entire premise?
Well, it's hard to say because the alert that we got as press pass holders, as a matter of fact, anyone who's credentialed to be in the Capitol complex now gets these security notices. And they come quite frequently, but none with quite the alarming tone that this one had. Having said that, it was very vague and a clear effort not to cause alarm. They said Senate office buildings. They did not say which Senate office building, in fact, was being searched. I am just next to the Russell Senate office building, the oldest of the three, where there is, again, several police cars. We've heard sirens rushing to the scene. There are ambulances outside. That could all be very much a precaution. Again, the police hasten to add that there are no reports of gunshots at this time.
And Mike, I appreciate your measured tone with all of this, letting us know that you'll continue to monitor the situation. And should anything happen, we, of course, will break in immediately. Mike Vaccaro, thank you so much.
Okay, we'll be here, Nick.
A recent nationwide FBI operation rescued more than 200 victims of human trafficking. The agency teamed with local law enforcement from around the country. This was all part of an initiative that's been combating trafficking for the past 13 years. It's also putting a spotlight on what the victims and survivors go through. Correspondent Elizabeth Pran is live with details. Elizabeth, I think we often think that once someone is removed from a trafficking situation, that their life continues as normal. And your reporting shows that's not the case.
Oh, you're so right, Nick. I mean, damaging impacts. And we're going to get to that. I want to talk a little bit about the initiative, as you mentioned, 13 years running, called Operation Cross Country. It's quite massive, actually, led, by the FBI, but really we see a lot of participation with state and local agencies. So this particular year, 2023, it happened in July. 200 young people, adolescents, and middle-aged adults were rescued. Some of them were minors, at least 59, some as young as 11 years old, and more than 125 suspects apprehended. We've already seen 68 charges of trafficking. So as I mentioned, the FBI leads the initiative. We know that they also work closely with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. In a release earlier this week, we heard from FBI Director Christopher Wray, and he said that sex trafficking and human trafficking is among the most heinous crimes his agency encounters. Advocacy groups such as No More Tears are on the ground fighting human trafficking every day. As you mentioned, the damage isn't necessarily stopping as soon as that person is rescued. And while they weren't involved in the latest sting, they applaud their effectiveness, and the group stresses this is an ongoing daily battle.
Someone right now is being trafficked. Someone is being beaten. Someone is being raped. These are the thoughts that I wake up with every morning. And I'm thinking, how can I stop this?
So that voice is Sami Ali. She's the founder and president of No More Tears. She's a survivor herself, originally from Pakistan. And she says after she rescues some of these young folks, she works with them as they recover. One of them describes the depiction of human trafficking that is seen in movies and TVs. And that is just not always the case.
You knew your trafficker and you were there's the idea that it seems like you were able to come and go freely, but it's not like that. You know, the reality of trafficking is so much of the mental, games that they play with you.
People have to understand, yes, it's not the lifestyle they chose, or when they first started out, yes, it was willingly, but after a while, they have no interest in it. They want to go back to their life.
Now, Nick, as you mentioned, Operation Cross Country, more than a decade. This is 13th year. Last year, they were able to recover 141 adults, 84 minors, and 37 missing children. We mentioned that there were those human trafficking charges already, 68 in place, but officials say as the investigation continues, they anticipate additional charges.
Elizabeth, such a difficult but necessary story to tell. Elizabeth, thank you so much. America's largest bank, JPMorgan Chase, is facing legal troubles over its ties to Jeffrey Epstein and his sex trafficking operation. Chase Bank is accused of handling more than $1 million of payments from Epstein to girls and women, even after terminating the convicted sex offender as a client. The U.S. Virgin Islands, where Epstein owned a private island, is seeking $190 million in penalties from Chase Bank. They allege the bank profited from and turned a blind eye to Epstein's sex trafficking operation. Joining us for more insight on this is Kaja Whitehouse, Senior Finance Editor with Insider. Kaja, I have to ask you, when we look at this situation, my first question is, what is the standing that they have to go after Chase Bank?
Jeffrey Epstein was a client for many, many years. And apparently, a lot of the sex trafficking, as we know, took place on Jeffrey Epstein's private island, which was located in the U.S. Virgin Islands. So now the U.S. Virgin Islands is saying, you are responsible, JPMorgan, as its banker, and you had signs, there were red flags about what he was doing, and you should have known and you should have stopped it, or at least alerted the authorities. And because of that, of course, the implication, of course, being that because you were making money off of this, you guys chose to turn that blind eye. Do you see this as being a viable case that can go forward, that a judge will actually consider? So it's interesting. The Judge Jed Rakoff has asked them to sort of outline their damages. And I guess that's the question is just because even if they're right, theoretically, that JPMorgan should have known, turned a blind eye, does the bank then owe the U.S. Virgin Islands? The bank has settled with some of the victims. It has given them, I think, $290 million. But the question is, what damages did the U.S. Virgin Islands actually suffer? And they will, of course, have an opportunity to present that and, in their interest, I guess, go forward. Kaja, I have to ask you, though, how long is the arm of the law? I mean, Jeffrey Epstein has been out of the picture now since, for 2 years? And we're still hearing about the effects that the tentacles of his crimes had. How long can this continue? Do you believe that victims will continue to come out of the woodwork, or those who are claiming to be victimized by his acts? Well, I mean, it's kind of surprising that it's taken this long. I remember when the stories started coming out before Jeffrey Epstein was jailed in 2008 about some of the things that were happening. And, it took many, many years before he was actually accused of sex trafficking. So I think, it's just a matter of a lot of these claims were sort of shrugged aside. Back then, it was the Palm Beach police, I think, that really were like, well, look, we need to bring harsher charges against this guy. There are multiple young girls, and these are girls under 18. And for some reason, it ended up being just one charge of soliciting a prostitute and very little time in jail that was pretty much work release. So it's just, I think, complications with our history and sex abuse. And Kaja, we saw situations where he was supposed to be on a work release program, and he was actually being driven back to his mansion and not really doing any of the time that he was supposed to do. Kaja Whitehouse, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Thank you. Up next, a woman is kidnapped, then kept in a cinder block cell at home just outside of Portland, Oregon. And now the FBI thinks there could be more victims across the country. Plus, the latest weapon used by some of the world's most wanted criminals. The cartels modifying monster trucks
to the extreme, and you won't believe what they're capable of. That and more when News Nation Now continues.
The one and only Bill O'Reilly, tonight on Cuomo, 8/7 Central.
At ADP, we understand business today looks nothing like it did yesterday. While it's more unpredictable, its possibilities are endless. From paying your people from anywhere to supporting your talent everywhere. We use data-driven insights to design HR solutions and services to help businesses of all sizes work smarter today so they can have more success tomorrow.
My name is Helen, and I was an EMT for 20 years in New York City. The job was very tough. We never knew what call we were gonna get, but I was one of the first responders for the plane on the Hudson. After years of working EMT, my body took a toll, and I had pain in every joint of my body, my back, my knees, my neck. I could not walk half a block. I had to lay in bed all the time. I was very depressed. The pain became so bad. I'm used to walking a lot, and I couldn't even do that. My sister finally told me, try Omega XL, because she was finding relief from pain in her knees. I ordered it, and now I have more energy than I ever had. Last week, I walked 6 blocks. I was so proud of myself.
Find relief with Omega XL. Omega XL is a powerful, one-of-a-kind oil extract that comes from the green-lipped mussels sourced from the pristine waters of New Zealand. Omega XL contains more than 30 free fatty acids that help relieve pain due to inflammation, and its effectiveness has been proven through more than 35 years of clinical research.
This product is the best thing. These tiny pills that you take will be a miracle for your body. You will remember what did it to you, and it was Omega XL.
Call now or visit omegaxl.com/try and receive this special offer. When you buy 1 bottle of Omega XL, receive an additional bottle absolutely free. That's 2 bottles of Omega XL for only $39.95. Order now, and we'll also include a free bottle of Vitamin XL D3 with your first order.
Get Omega XL. It's the best thing for you.
Call now and receive this special offer. 2 bottles of Omega XL plus Vitamin XL D3 for only $39.95.
Order it. It's good for you.
How do I do it all? With a little help. And to support my family's immune health, I choose Airborne. It has an unbeatable amount of vitamin C, plus a unique blend of immune-focused ingredients to turn up our immune support. Airborne, ace this school year with A+ immune support.
Hi, I'm Daniel, the founder of Pretty Litter. By working with scientists and veterinarians, I was able to develop a long-lasting litter with advanced odor control, low dust, and most importantly, color-changing technology. So give it a try. Visit prettylitter.com today.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I was diagnosed with AFib. The first inkling that something was wrong was I started to notice that I couldn't do things without losing my breath. I couldn't make it through the airport. Every 20 or 30 yards, I had to sit down and get my breath. Every physical exertion seemed to exhaust me. And finally, I went to the hospital where I was diagnosed with AFib. When I first noticed symptoms, which kept coming and going, I should have gone to the doctor and told him what was happening. Instead, I tried to let it pass. If you experience irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness, you should talk to your doctor. AFib increases the risk of stroke about 5 times. I want my experience to help others understand the symptoms of atrial fibrillation. When it comes to your health, this is no time to wait.
Yeah, dude, that doesn't look good. I know what to do. I'm going to CashNetUSA.com. I can apply in minutes, and if approved, I can have the money as soon as the same business day.
Go to CashNetUSA.com to apply for the money you need.
Welcome back. I'm Nick Smith. Authorities in Oregon say a kidnapped woman managed to escape a cell inside the home of a sex offender, and they believe there could be more victims across the country. The suspect later taken into custody. The FBI releasing these photos showing the cinder block cell. Now, the police chief from the southern Oregon town where she was discovered describes how much she went through to escape.
because of her ability and her survival mindset, this was a screen door. She punched it several times to break the welds, ripped the screen down, and she crawled through a small space to get out of that.
We're joined now by former FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer. Jennifer, we just heard the chief talk about how this woman's tenacity helped her get out of that situation. This is something that I've heard you talk about before. Be aware of where you are and try to stay calm in that situation. Not easy to do.
No, not at all. And this woman is really remarkable. She's remarkable, Nick, because through all this time frame, through the abuse she suffered, through not probably even knowing where exactly she was, she kept her wits about her. And not only that, she had the resolution to get out of this makeshift cell, even bloodying her hands as she beat relentlessly at the door. This woman is amazing, and what a survivor.
Jennifer, I know we're still learning information and more information will be revealed in this case, but I've also heard you say in a situation like this, try not to be removed from a scene. We don't know how she ended up in this situation, but Jennifer, what do you think may have led up to a situation like this where someone has built a situation where they can keep someone locked up?
Well, specifically in this case, it's my understanding that he actually posed as a police officer. And this isn't something new. This happens often with individuals who kidnap and abduct people. Most notably, this is how Ted Bundy operated. So this is a situation where she was coerced and was told she was with an officer and was put into this vehicle and then found herself 100 miles away. So we have to be very careful. And this is one thing we always warn in the self-defense classes we teach is do not trust officers who are not in police cars and dressed appropriately as officers.
And I think that when you see the uniform, you see the badge, and you immediately let your guard down. But Jennifer, in this situation, there was also a suggestion that there could be other victims. What happens now in the next steps of this investigation?
Well, this is just in its infancy, and truly there's so much work to be done. We're talking 10 different states that he's lived in and been associated with. They're also going to look at this makeshift place and see if there's any other DNA within there to see if they can attach him to any other victims that he might have even taken here. But with 10 states involved, those are going to be immediate leads, what we call leads, that are going to be sent out to those field offices, and they're going to be looking at everything he did while he was in those locations and seeing if there's any ties to any other potential victims or unsolved cases.
Jennifer, one more question before I let you go. I have to believe that the victim who was able to survive this is key in their investigation. What kind of questions and how much time do you give her to get herself together before you start to maybe interview her for more information that could help others?
Well, the FBI has a wonderful cadre of individuals who are victim witness specialists, and this is what they do. They are very good at providing services to individuals who have been traumatized like this woman would have been, and helping her get through the emotional crisis that she would be in right now, and providing a liaison to the FBI agents that are going to be in charge of the investigation so that they can debrief her and understand everything that happened. Because you're right, Nick, this is a kidnapping charge. It's 20 years to life, and they are going to need her as their witness.
Jennifer Coffindaffer, thank you again, Jennifer, for joining me this afternoon.
Thank you, Nick, for having me.
Absolutely. Up next, a presidential candidate turns his attention to a suspected shooter and their manifesto. The push to reveal what may have led to a tragedy at a Tennessee school. Plus, troops pulled from the southern border. What happens now that the migrant crisis could be hitting a tipping point? You're watching News Nation Now with Nicole Burley. We'll have more after the break.
Tonight on News Nation, the latest on the alleged Long Island serial killer and the former call girl who met up with the suspect years ago. How close was she to danger? And we talk UFOs. Tonight, 10/9 Central on Banfield.
How do I do it all? With a little help. And to support my family's immune health, I choose Airborne. It has an unbeatable amount of vitamin C, plus a unique blend of immune-focused ingredients to turn up our immune support. Airborne, ace this school year with A+ immune support.
The FBI calls it house stealing, the latest scam where a cyber thief transfers the title of your home out of your name and steals your hard-earned equity. Fortunately, there's an easy way to protect yourself. Find out if you're already a victim at HomeTitleLock.com.
Living with metastatic breast cancer means I cherish my memories. But I don't just look back on them. I look forward to the chance to make new ones every day with Verzenio.
Verzenio is proven to help you live significantly longer when taken with fulvestrant. Verzenio plus fulvestrant is for HR-positive, HER2-negative metastatic breast cancer that has progressed after hormone therapy. Diarrhea is common, may be severe, or cause dehydration or infection. At the first sign, call your doctor, start an antidiarrheal, and drink fluids. Before taking Verzenio, tell your doctor about any fever, chills, or other signs of infection. Verzenio may cause low white blood cell counts, which may cause serious infection that can lead to death. Life-threatening lung inflammation can occur. Tell your doctor about any new or worsening trouble breathing, cough, or chest pain. Serious liver problems can happen. Symptoms include fatigue, appetite loss, stomach pain, and bleeding or bruising. Blood clots that can lead to death have occurred. Tell your doctor if you have pain or swelling in your arms or legs, shortness of breath, chest pain, and rapid breathing or heart rate, or if you are nursing, pregnant, or plan to be.
I'm making future memories every day with Verzenio.
Ask your doctor about everyday Verzenio.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, ride your bike.
If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it.
If you're happy and you know it, smile big and bright.
Thousands of kids just like me are happy every day.
And it's all because of generous people like you who support Shriners Hospitals for Children every month.
All you have to do is call the number on your screen or go online to loveshriners.org right now with your monthly gift.
Because of people like you, Shriners Hospitals for Children is able to make an everyday miracle happen for kids like me.
If you're happy and you know it, dance around. If you're happy and you know it, play a song.
If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it.
If you're happy and you know it, take a shot.
And when you call or go online right now to donate $19 a month or more, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a thank you and a reminder of all the smiles you're bringing to kids' faces every day.
Will today be the day you send your love to the rescue?
When you call the number on your screen right now and give as little as $19 a month, just 63 cents a day, you'll be making a life-changing difference for a child, just like Sarah.
Your monthly gift today could change your life forever.
Because of you.
We are happy and we know it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please call or go online right now to give. If operators are busy, please wait patiently or go to loveshriners.org right away.
I'm gonna sell my life insurance because I don't need it anymore.
My kids are grown, my wife is great, let's settle up the score.
It's time to travel to Paris. Spend retirement happy. Call 877-SELL-EASY. 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 And sell your policy. You can sell all or part. Live your life, play it smart. 877-SELL-EASY. And sell your policy.
If you've had a change in health or you're over 65 and paying for $100,000 or more in a life insurance policy you don't need, get paid for it instead.
Take the money that you get, gonna live it up, you bet. Call 877-SELL-EASY. 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 And sell your policy.
Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy is calling on Nashville police to release the Covenant school shooters manifesto. This despite parents of the victims being strongly against releasing that information. The shooter, 28-year-old Audrey Hale, who is identified as transgender, shot and killed 3 children and 3 adults at the Catholic elementary school before being gunned down by police. Police originally said there was a manifesto found, but have since walked that back and have delayed the release for for months. News Nation correspondent Rich McHugh is live for us in Nashville. Rich, what is Ramaswamy saying?
Well, hey, Nick, this is a complicated one. It's been 4 months since 28-year-old shooter took the lives of 6 innocent people here in Nashville at a Christian elementary school. The shooter, who left behind writings that police have called a manifesto, the police released the body cam footage and initially promised to release the writings, but have not. Ever since, there's been intense debate over this manifesto and why the police haven't released it, including whether it has to do with the fact that the shooter identified as transgender. Today, Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy was here in Nashville demanding police release it.
Release the manifesto. Speak the truth. The hard times are the times where we must most openly speak that truth. It is hardest to speak the truth under difficult circumstances, but that is when we require it the most. I understand that there are legitimate concerns, that we do not want details released that will motivate copycats. I don't want that.
In June, the parents of the victims weighed in a legal brief and said they do not want the shooter's manifesto released. But the brother of Mike Hill, who was killed, disagreed. He said he wants to know, quote, "For me personally, not knowing the shooter's true motives leaves a large void in my heart and in my brother's story."
The best we can do to move forward is to discover exactly what happened so that we may hope and we may pray and we may do our part to make sure that something like this never happens again.
Now, there's a number of lawsuits that have been filed. They're all working their way. It's currently in an appeals court here in Nashville, and it's due back in court, I think, on August 21st, later this month. Nick?
This has to be difficult for everyone involved. Rich, I definitely understand how some would want that information released and why others feel like it would only help to glorify that killer. Rich McHugh live for us this afternoon in Nashville. Rich, thank you. Most of the 1,500 active duty troops deployed to the southern border in early May are gearing up to come home. The 90-day deployment, which focused on support and logistics, is set to end on Tuesday. This despite signs that illegal border crossings are once again on the rise. Correspondent Tom Dempsey joins us live from Washington. And Tom, some are questioning the timing of this move. Why remove troops when more reinforcement at the border is needed?
Yeah, good afternoon, Nick. Yeah, this afternoon, brand new data from U.S. Customs and Border Protection show illegal crossings at the southern border seeing an over 30% spike from June to July. Keep in mind the timing of all this, too, because the Pentagon recently announced it will be drawing back over 1,000 troops sent to help at the border around the time Title 42 expired. News Nation obtained the latest numbers from Customs and Border Protection. You can see them here. They show over 130,000 encounters at the southern border in July. Title 42, for some perspective, it expired in mid-May, and it allowed the U.S. to turn migrants away at the border, all to protect the U.S. from the spread of COVID. The expiration led to a drop in June, but as we can see here, July saw a surge. This all comes as the Pentagon announced this week that most of the active duty troops sent to the southern border to help around the time of Title 42 expiring will be returning back to base. They did not help on the front lines or interact with migrants, but assisted with data entry and warehouse support in order to let Customs and Border Protection officers stay in the field. As those troops get sent home just this week, the mayor of New York City spoke about the impact of migrants coming across the border and being bussed up to the area. Take a listen.
We need to control the border. We need to call a state of emergency, and we need to properly fund this national crisis.
Now, the data from Customs and Border Protection also showed that over 17,000 undocumented immigrants remain in CBP's custody right now. Nick?
Tom, more than 130,000 in the month of July alone. Those numbers are definitely staggering, and you can understand why Mayor Adams is pushing for more support. Tom Dempsey live for us in the nation's capital. Tom, thank you. Well, up next, a chilling sight at one of California's most popular beaches. What was found inside a barrel that's not only shocked investigators, is frightening tourists. Plus, renewed pressure to find out whether life outside our world really exists. One lobbyist joins me live with his plan to get answers outside the halls of Congress. And a reminder, you can still listen to News Nation wherever you are. Just download the News Nation app and click on the Listen tab.
For your weekend, but continued rain all day.
You can't count on the weather, but you can count on Dish and our reliability guarantee. Should you ever lose signal, contact us and we'll credit back your account.
Hey, Dylan, I want your dad to go out and help you practice your sliding.
Yeah. I'll be outside.
You're a good dad.
The reliability guarantee, only from Dish. Tuned into you.
This is an important message for anyone and everyone on or eligible for Medicare. If Medicare is important to you, then you need to hear this message because Medicare benefits matter to millions of Americans. Did you know Medicare has different parts, including Medicare Part A and Part B, often called Original Medicare? And then there's Medicare Part C, representing Medicare Advantage plans, and Part D for prescription drug coverage. Call 800-218-5045 now for your free Medicare coverage checkup. We can look up your plan and see if you're missing out on a plan with extra benefits or if your income qualifies you to reduce costs on your prescription medications. Did you know there are different enrollment periods, like the Medicare annual enrollment period, when beneficiaries can enroll in or change coverage? But there are also certain conditions or qualifications that may allow you to qualify for a special enrollment period any time of the year. So call the number on your screen now for your free Medicare coverage checkup. This is a free service that you can call at absolutely no cost to you.
I'm on Medicare. I called to see if my income qualified for a lower prescription medication cost. The friendly agent was very knowledgeable, and I found out that I qualified for a special enrollment period. I'm so glad that I called.
We can look up your plan and see if you're missing out on a plan with extra benefits. We can also check to see if your income qualifies you to reduce the cost of your prescription medications. And we can even tell you if you qualify for a special enrollment period. It's your free Medicare coverage checkup at absolutely no cost to you. Just call 800-218-5045 and you can speak with a licensed agent who can check up on your plan and answer your questions. The Medicare Benefits and Questions line is open, and anyone on or eligible for Medicare can call. The call and Medicare coverage checkup is free with no obligation. Call now. We love talking to people with Medicare, and the call is free. Just call 800-218-5045. 800-218-5045.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
What should we do?
I'm going to CashNetUSA.com. I can apply in minutes, and if approved, we can have the money as soon as the same business day.
Go to CashNetUSA.com to apply for the money you need.
Tonight on News Nation, from UFOs and space tourism to his latest endeavor, Space Crystals, the legendary Star Trek actor William Shatner weighs in on life beyond our planet and how he wants to send your DNA to the moon. That's tonight on Elizabeth Vargas Reports.
I want to go back to breaking news that we brought you at the top of the hour. We have heard from someone who sheltered in place at the Capitol. And we do know that they have not heard any shots fired. They say that they sheltered in place and heeding the warning of Capitol Police at that time. We do know that we will go back and have a live report from Mike Vaccaro, who is there on the ground gathering information. Again, they did shelter in place, and we will follow up with that as soon as we get more information. Back here live with me right now, let's go to California, where in Malibu Beach, police found a body in a barrel. And they're wondering how this body turned up in that barrel. Right there, we can see investigators actually looking now. Shelley Nelson has more from California.
A chilling discovery when a body is found stuffed inside this 55-gallon barrel at Malibu Lagoon State Beach.
The fact that I can see it right now is crazy too.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like it's
Really
insane.
weird.
It's wild. Surreal, actually.
Authorities say a maintenance worker spotted the plastic drum floating in the middle of the lagoon Sunday afternoon.
They got in a kayak and went out to get it, brought it to shore. Apparently it was too heavy and they didn't want to open it, so they left it on shore.
When a lifeguard arrived at work Monday morning, investigators say they swam out to grab the barrel, which was back in the lagoon. They pulled it to shore at around 10 a.m., opened it, and found a man's body inside. It's unclear how long it had been there for.
From what I did see, it didn't look to me like it was decomposed or been there a long time.
Sky 5 captured aerial images of the drum sitting upright in shallow water. Investigators say there was a label on it for a certain chemical. This section of the beach closed off for hours while authorities waited for the county coroner to arrive. All the while, sheriff's cruisers parked on the sand, leaving beachgoers curious about the investigation. Joel and Melbourne Aquino were visiting on their last day of vacation when they learned about the shocking discovery.
You start thinking, well, how long has it been there? Who put the body in there? And why did they go to such trouble to hide it in the canister?
Some visitors continued their day just in another section of the popular beach. For this group of friends visiting from the East Coast, the ongoing investigation coming as a surprise.
It seems like there's a lot of backstory that we don't know about.
It's hard to feel unsafe. The sun's out and it's broad daylight.
That was Shelby Nelson reporting. Detectives continue to search the area for clues, witnesses, and surveillance footage that could help them in this investigation. Well, the man behind a deadly attack on a Pittsburgh synagogue has received a sentence of death. Robert Bowers was found guilty of killing 11 worshipers in the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history. The court found he spewed hatred online before carrying out the 2018 attack at the Tree of Life Synagogue. He was convicted by the federal jury on 63 counts. A judge will formally impose the death sentence at a future date. Well, up next, the Vatican and UFOs. New details about the secret records kept by one of the world's oldest institutions. And tonight on News Nation, my colleague Chris Cuomo will be joined live by 3 dancers taking Lizzo to court over this. That's at 8, 7 Central on News Nation.
Special guest Bill O'Reilly on Cuomo.
Time for my weekly dose of perspective.
TV's liveliest, most honest debate.
Let me remind you of something, Cuomo.
Please. Tonight at 8, 7 Central.
I'm hitting you with facts, Cuomo. Hold on.
Only on News Nation.
I'm Sherry.
I'm John. I'm a pharmacist. As we were starting to age, it's like, well, how can we help our cognitive abilities? We saw Prevagen. I did read the clinical study and went ahead and gave it a try. I feel that Prevagen is helping me with overall clarity, and as a pharmacist, I've recommended it to not only just customers, but also to friends and family as a safe product to try.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
If you're watching this Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance commercial, there's a good chance that you're alive. And if you're not, well, this may not be of interest to you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Life insurance? I'm going to live forever. Death is what happens to other people. Well, for the sake of argument, let's assume you're wrong and that someday you won't be watching TV anymore. I know it's not easy to talk about, so I'll do the talking. If you're 50 plus and alive, you can apply for Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance with guaranteed acceptance, regardless of your health. And since this life insurance is guaranteed, you don't have to get a medical exam. In fact, you don't even have to fill out a health questionnaire. For a free quote, just call 800-600-8948. Then when you stop, if you stop watching TV, your family can use the insurance money to help cover your final expenses or anything else. For a free quote, call today, 800-600-8948. Your kids already inherited your ears, allergies, and questionable singing voice. Don't make them inherit your final expense tab, too.
When moderate to severe ulcerative colitis takes you off course, put it in check with Rinvoq, a once-daily pill.
When I wanted to see results fast, Rinvoq delivered rapid symptom relief and helped leave bathroom urgency behind. Check.
When UC tried to slow me down, I got lasting steroid-free remission with Rinvoq. Check.
And when UC caused damage, Rinvoq came through by visibly repairing my colon lining. Check. Rapid symptom relief. lasting steroid-free remission.
And a chance to visibly repair the colon lining. Check, check, and check.
Rinvoq can lower your ability to fight infections, including TB, serious infections and blood clots, some fatal, cancers including lymphoma and skin cancer, death, heart attack, stroke, and tears in the stomach or intestines occurred. People 50 and older with at least one heart disease risk factor have higher risks. Don't take if allergic to Rinvoq, as serious reactions can occur. Tell your doctor if you are or may become pregnant.
Put UC in check and keep it there with Rinvoq.
Ask your gastroenterologist about Rinvoq and learn how AbbVie can help you save.
Attention firefighters, first responders, military base personnel, and airport workers. Listen closely to this important legal announcement. Have you been exposed to chemical-based firefighting foam? If so, you may be entitled to a substantial cash award without going to court. For decades, aqueous film-forming foam, or AFFF, has been used to extinguish liquid fuel fires. A scientific study has now shown that the chemicals used to make AFFF are highly toxic to humans and can cause a significant risk of developing several types of cancer, including kidney, pancreatic, thyroid, prostate, bladder, testicular, liver, or non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. If you or a loved one are a firefighter, first responder, airport worker, or member of the military that has used firefighting foam and has been diagnosed with cancer, please call the Negligence Network to file your claim today. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call the Negligence Network to see if you're eligible for substantial compensation. Call 1-800-500-1636. That's 1-800-500-1636.
Can you believe this? Doug Flutie and Frank Thomas. You guys look great. Once I turn 40...
Let me guess, less energy, less drive?
Definitely.
It's not your fault. It happens to every man. Testosterone levels drop as you age.
It happened to you guys?
Yep.
So what did you do?
We got Nugenix Total T.
This unique man-boosting formula is powered by Testofen, a patented key ingredient clinically researched to help increase testosterone levels. Nugenix is the #1 doctor-recommended testosterone booster in the USA, #1 at GNC, and #1 at Walmart. But you can only get your complimentary bottle by texting ROOM to 42424.
That does it. I gotta get Nugenix.
Just send a text. Yeah, for a complimentary bottle. And by the way, she'll like it too.
Get your complimentary bottle of Nugenix now. Text ROOM to 42424. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat incinerator ever, with key ingredients to help you lose fat and get lean absolutely free. That's ROOM to 42424.